Didi, namaste. Tell us about the series you just started, Life in Lockdown.
Hello Sanjay, Namaste. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share details about this small series which I started, Life Under Lockdown. Life Under Lockdown just happened because as an artist and as a human being, I responded to the environment around. This is an environment filled with anxiety, apprehension, concerns about the present and the future, and uncertainty about the course of one's life and where it is going, how things are going to pan out. These questions and these doubts and anxieties are in everybody's minds across the world. So, I too have been grappling with much of this and praying that a day would soon come when we would return to normalcy, but a new normalcy. This period of lockdown, there has been a lot that we are learning, and I'm sure there is lots more to learn. Quite apart from tapping into our innermost resources of strength to cope with the challenges posed by this pandemic, quite apart from praying from the bottom of our hearts for the welfare and protection of our beloved ones. Many of us are seeing and discovering aspects within ourselves which we did not know existed. Thoughts of this nature were going through my mind, and one day when I was praying and chanting one of my favorite prayers, which is Hanumat Vadavanana Stotram, it occurred to me that I could externalize what I was feeling through the tools I've been given, which is to sing and dance. And that is how the series began.
YouTube is flooded with prayers of this nature. How is the piece performed by you different?
Yes, this is a very good question. There have been beautiful productions on stage, off stage, and not only on YouTube, elsewhere, and all kinds of fora. Beautiful productions put out by a number of accomplished artists. There are many beautiful things in nature created by God, many beautiful things around us created by man. However, the point is not to be different or be better or compare one's work to anything else that is around. It is to be the best one can be given the circumstances and given the environment and given that point of time when one aspect or the other prevails in one's work. So as such, I never really thought of this as being structured to be different, better, but I have meant this to be a spontaneous, sincere response to the state of emotions that is being experienced by every human being across the world, and my response to human beings everywhere on this planet who must be experiencing all these emotions and coping with all these issues, and to be a part of that global humankind, knitting with global humankind as an individual, as an artist, as a woman, as a human being. That is the only effort. There's no effort to make anything different, better, or finer than anybody else's product.
The first presentation you shared on YouTube is quite brief. But as a dancer, I noticed that the movements, what you have done, are not restricted to any one Indian classical dance form. Would you like to explain why?
Yes, that's a very good question. I have not remained within a box or within a particular style of dancing consciously. In fact, I have now come to a stage in my life and in my career, in the development as an artist and as a person, where I do not recognize these boundaries. They're not relevant to me anymore. What matters is that I should be the best version of myself at that point of time, and I should be the judge of what is the best version of myself. So it is. I'm more driven by autonomy, and to me, I've had the pleasure of studying at least 3 dance traditions completely, thoroughly, and 2 or 3 more as a visitor. And to me, each of these experiences has added profoundly to my development as a person, as a dancer, as a cultural persona, and as a woman too. And to me, everything goes into a melting bowl. It's an amalgamation. You cannot draw walls around these. So whether it's in terms of dance styles, or whether it is in terms of reciting or singing suddenly, it is an overall artistic output. And I never think of this movement as being taboo or that particular step as being taboo. It's all part of me, and it comes out in a homogeneous manner. So I don't think you can actually recognize when I dance that she's specifically dancing a particular parampara or bani or a particular school of Bharatanatyam or Kuchipudi or whatever. I think it is really my dance which speaks for me and my perception of what I've learned and what I've integrated into myself and what I put out. So it has gone through that process, and it is really my own product that I put out. It's never really been very different than that at any point in time. And, I would like to bring down these walls even more and make my dance a statement of who I am. And the brevity of the piece is really not important. I think the piece is either as short or as long, as elaborate or as simple as is dictated by the contents of the lyric or the music that I have chosen, because these are integrated. They say Geetam Vadyam Katha Nrityam Trayam Sangeetam Uchyate. So Sangeeta, music, is an amalgamation of Geetam, which is music singing, Vadyam, which is instrumental music, and Nrityam, which is dance. There is an integration of all these 3 elements in what is called Sangeeta. Sangeeta is not simply one or the other, but really a combination of all 3. And more, I would say. Also the perception of the person who is offering that Sangeeta, who is expressing Sangeeta. That is also important.
Are all your uploads going to be mantra based, or would you like to work with different types of lyrics or music?
Yeah, that's a relevant question. I mean, am I going to be dancing always to chants and prayers, or am I going to be deviating from that? Well, I don't have a straightforward answer. As I said, if it is something that I put out with relation to the lockdown, then obviously the subject matter would have some pertinence to the period of lockdown and the background why there is a lockdown, and also its impact on human beings. So that's the canvas on which I would be painting various images through my dance. But there is another side to the lockdown, as I said. I mentioned this in my first answer, where there is a soul searching, where a person goes inwards, where you're re-establishing a dialogue with yourself, you're re-establishing a dialogue with your environment, with your immediate environment, with those whom you relate to very closely. You're redefining everything in a way, because you are not, your attention is really focused inwards. And so, therefore, that results in a different kind of a dynamic in individuals and their behavior. So that would be an interesting, aspect to explore. And if there is something that resonates with me and which relates also to this, I'd probably bring that in as well. So the musical accompaniment and the lyrics would obviously be selected with a view to bring out that aspect.
Would you like to share a few details about your next upload in the series, Life Under Lockdown?
About my future uh, modules, I'm not so sure I want to discuss it in full detail, but one of them is already on its way, and very soon we will be uploading that. But I want to take this opportunity to draw attention of my viewers to one or two points about the previous one. It wasn't possible for me to explain it then, but I would like to draw your attention to that. For instance, as many people know, I have been engaged with the study of rituals of worship. And my work in the last 15 years has involved a very detailed visit to various temples, and also studying the treatises dealing with gestural language in particular, because that distinguishes the dance which is done in the context of worship from the dance which is done in the context of a performance of dance on a stage. And the classical dance construct which we see around today, and through which I have come to this point also, does not usually accommodate the study of that particular feature, because it is not really important for stage performances. But that's been my specialization, so I went into this study about a couple of decades ago, and it continues. Now, why I'm mentioning this is that in the Hanumat Vadavanala Stotram, instinctively I used a few of those hastas which are not used in classical dance forms as they are taught today. And sometimes it meant that I restricted the use of my hastamudras. For instance, I did not use Shikarasta. I used this hasta. This is not even Mushki hasta, it's a different hasta. It's a hasta that is used during meditation. And for instance, it is a hasta that is used, even ordinarily you say this. But here, the thumb is tucked inside the four fingers. In some systems, it is called Adi hasta, or the basic hasta, which is to really denote power, strength. So, in the context of Hanumat Vadavanala Stotram, I felt that this hasta was very appropriate, because on the one hand, the image being portrayed is that of an immensely powerful Hanuman, physically powerful, spiritually powerful. And on the other, during the stotra, especially towards the end, the devotee is seeking Hanuman's blessing, not only blessing, to be inspired by Hanuman and to draw similar strength and resolve to fight. And so the same hasta would apply even in that context. So if you look carefully, I don't think one can see it in that video, but throughout those two pieces of dance where there was no mantra chanting, I used only this hasta, and all the movements I did were restricted to the use of this hasta. Now there are many such deliberate choices that I make, and they're now so ingrained within me that it's really instinctive. I don't plan out the choreography before I dance, because you assimilate the lyrics, you assimilate the essence of the piece you're dancing to, and then you integrate those and correlate them with the context and the content of the piece that you're performing. And then the output becomes instinctive, and it becomes spontaneously responsive. So that is how it happens with me, and this is the method of dancing that I follow. So very often I find it very difficult to repeat a particular movement or interpretation. It's a bit like, well, I'm not a student of jazz, but I would say improvisationally, it would come close to the way a jazz musician would perhaps play. That's the best example I can really find. The future pieces will also be danced in this manner, but about the content, about the subject, I would not like to elaborate just now. I just want to invite my viewers and you, Sanjay, and dancers everywhere, dance lovers everywhere, even those who don't necessarily like dance but enjoy observing, new developments and the way an artist evolves. Everybody is most welcome to see and send me suggestions, constructive criticism, and any inputs that I could use to improve future modules. And I hope that this goes beyond the lockdown period, and so I hope that there would be a series called Life Beyond Lockdown as well. But until then, my prayers with everybody, all humankind, every creature in nature, and my prayers to the powers above, that we may all be protected, we may all be strengthened, and we may all be helped to come through these difficult times. Thank you very much.